Today's top picks from Reuters Breaking Views: why a soft approach is best for the next Greek debt deal, and China's hard landing is the catastrophe that wasn't. With me now to discuss these stories is Reuters Breaking Views economics editor Edward Hadas. Edward, thanks so much for joining us. Greece, it really is essentially, they're not going to get the short-term, the long-term fix. They're just going to get a short-term bandage, right?
That's right. They just announced yet another deterioration of their economic prospects, and that means that their deficit is going to be bigger, which means, of course, their debt burden is going to be larger. And the right thing to do is, from an economic point of view and from the future of the country, is to write off some of that debt. They're never going to be able to pay it back in any realistic way, but it's not going to happen. They're just going to get some more money, and there'll be some negotiating around the edges, but effectively the debt will not be written off, at least not yet.
But their debt's going to hit something like 190% of GDP sometime next year. Surely public sector lenders are going to have to get involved.
Eventually. Right now it's politically impossible. There's an election coming up in Germany, and there's no way that the German government is going to go to its voters and say, by the way, we've forgiven the Greeks. Afterwards, when tempers cool, everyone knows, everyone in Germany, the political leaders there are quite persuaded that something has to give to keep Greece in the euro. They're going to have to forgive some debt. In fact, either way, they're going to have to forgive some debt. So this is something that's on its way, but they'll have to find a window where the political pressure won't be so great, so they can open it and throw some Greek debt out of it.
So not a question of if, but just when.
Exactly. Okay,
Greece looking shaky, but China, data today showing China's economy is regaining some traction. Does this mean we're not going to see this hard landing?
There's been a hard landing predicted in China for so many years that one hardly knows. You can look back 10 years, 20 years, and people have been predicting this hard landing. It may yet come, but it doesn't look like this particular moment is the one. The government's been a little bit stimulative, and it's been enough to turn a slight decline into a slight increase. But what we're interested in is whether the underlying factors that worry people about China are gone away, the financial excesses, the dependence on construction, the excess of investment. And the answer is no, they're still there. So those kind of structural weaknesses that could eventually lead to a hard landing are just still present.
And you use this Breakingviews Tea Leaf Index. Yes. What is it, and what did it tell you?
Our man in Beijing, John Foley, developed this index to try to get some esoteric indicators, a collection of almost random signs of how economic life is going in China, because it's very hard to get very accurate global information. And right now, it, like the other indicators, is saying that things are getting a little better, but not so great that we should relax and say there's nothing wrong with China.
Right, maybe we should have a tea leaf index for the UK at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edward. For more agenda-setting financial insight, watch our US Breaking Views show every day at 12:30 Eastern, 16:30 GMT. I'm Angeline Ong, and this is Reuters.